Hey, what up, y'all? Life does a lot of things. I think probably most consistently, what it does is change. It's kind of the only thing life does is it changes. If it flows, it may grow into something better. It may contract and make you feel smaller. It does a lot though, and a lot of it has to do with changing and transforming and motion. Really, life is not too static. It may feel like we're stuck and we're not moving, and especially when we're going through hardships, that life is almost motionless. But life is moving constantly. Even, life is the universe. And even if you look at the microcosm of that and just look at us as individuals, even we are always moving. We're always breathing. So there's always some kind of motion, even in the stillness. Even if you are meditating and you look like a statue, there's still that breath moving and pumping through you. Maybe slow, maybe steady, but it is a constant motion. And it's funny because breath is life, and life is a constant motion. So that being said, I advise all of us to deal with the greatest obstacle in life, which is motion, which is changing, which is losing things and gaining things. Okay, a lot of times we don't realize that it's all the same thing, and we may focus on just one little piece of that, and maybe we'll focus on gaining, obtaining. But usually, to gain, there needs a space for that to be in. And if all of our space is occupied, we have to lose something in order to gain that. There's that trade-off. We all lose something. That does not make us losers. Just like it does not make us winners. It makes us participants in life. And the quicker we'll be able to understand that, the better we will be able to adapt with life. Life is like a river. You gotta go with the flow. You can't tell the river which direction to go in. That's not how it works. We would love to believe that's how it works. As a matter of fact, we can make that be the way it works. Humans have built dams. So the point of it all is to figure out how it goes and where you fit into that. If you feel like you do not fit into it, well, then that's when you're like, fuck this river, I'm gonna make a dam. Could be good, could be bad. It really is either or. I feel like going with the natural way of life is such a harmonious way to be. But some people, not big fans of it, and they make their own way. There is no good, there is no bad. They're just changes, really. So if you want to make your own way and go against nature, if that's what suits you best, then so be it. Because there are things that need to be changed. I'll be perfectly honest with you. The world that we live in is due for a change. And I don't mean the planet. I don't mean Mama Earth. I mean the system. I mean society. I mean governments as a whole. I mean the whole overly capitalistic nature of things, putting money and physical over emotional and actual necessary, putting wants. We're kind of spoiled. This world has spoiled us, but not in a way that's good for us. Spoiled children never know what's best. They just know what they want. And we're very similar to that in this world. So it's time for us to learn what it is that we need on individual levels, as well as maybe what you need to acquire to be a better piece to contribute to the whole. What is it that you're lacking that could help? There's a lot of changes that need to be made. There's changes we've done also, but there's more changes that are coming. Like I said, it's the only thing that happens. The most difficult thing that I have to deal with as far as change Yo, I done moved out of Jersey. I'm in North Carolina. You probably hear it right now. You know what that is? That's the air base that ain't too far from. That I'm pretty close to. That I hear a lot, actually. I'd say a couple times a day. Maybe a dozen on a shitty day. But that's not the change I need to get mostly adjusted to. Even I have to accept that not only do I change, but the folk around me change. The ways of things in general change. Change is constant, so I've got to deal with my daughter changing. You know, when she was young, there was a real big daddy-daughter connection, and it was all love and wonderful. You know, when she got older and I separated from her mom, you know, things shifted a bit, but we still had a strong relationship and a good bond. But once puberty hit, you know, and I remember what it's like to be a teen. So, but once that happened, you know, our relationship really got rocky. And the same thing happened to me and my pops at around the same time. And this is a tale as old as time. So it's not anything that's like unheard of. You know, something I understand. My head understands it, but my heart has such a fucking difficult time wrapping itself around this. Because that's my kid, man. Yeah, and that's my only kid of my own blood. Of my DNA. Like, you know, it's important to me. And I raised her. And, you know, I formed this human. And now for her to go through her own changes so deeply that it almost severed our connection. But change happens, you know, change happens naturally at this age. But it's hard for me to really be 100% okay with whatever changes that are happening, because, you know, that's just life, man. I'm trying to go with the flow. But it's like, yo, the old flow was still going with the flow, and it was just so much nicer. It was like the lazy river where you could just kind of chill in it, you're in your tube, and you're like, oh, this is exciting. Now it's more like fucking, like White Rapids. It's a whole different ballgame. And I'm trying to still go with the flow, but I'm used to comfortable, chilling, relax, slow, yin, take it easy, chill pill type shit. And that's not really what teenage angst is about. I remember it fondly, or I remember it vividly, let me say. So that's a change that I'm personally been having some issues adapting to. But I feel like I'm doing better every day that I can, you know, because regardless of us having any interaction, the change is an acceptance that has to come from within me. So it can be egged on by external reactions, like perhaps we may exchange some words, or perhaps, you know, I may reminisce and look at some drawings that I have of hers lying around. And, you know, it can be triggered by something external, but really the acceptance is an internal thing. It's an inside job. It only needs me, really. I don't need her to be all fluffy and nice and be like, you know what, Dad, let's bring it back to back in the day where, you know, I could open up to you and, you know, we're nice to each other and sweet and all of these things, and maybe that can trigger me healing. But in reality, that would only be enabling me to not heal and not have to change. So I know change is important. I know change gonna come. A change has been in the process. I know we all have to deal with change. The world is changing. You know, it's becoming it's the veil that has been in front of our eyes, keeping us from all the insanity, is really being lifted. So we're starting to view the insanity. So it's changing our perception. We have to be able to go with this flow. It's like growing up. Maybe it's about time that society as a whole is growing up. And, you know, it's going to cause a lot of angst. But eventually it will be able to be smoothed over. It's like a volcano. It'll be a big explosion, but things will be calm again. And that's in our personal development. That's in the world. And what we do, we are the microcosm of this macrocosm. And the earth is like the middle realm, because the earth is macro, especially compared to us. But the macro goes beyond. I'm talking about universe. Universal. Huge, unimaginable macrocosms. So as long as we are trying to be as harmonious as we can, as long as we can get our insides to match our outsides, and I prefer the lead from the inside to the outside, because you know, if you're outside first, then you look at the world externally and you're like, oh, this is a crazy shit show, what the hell's going on? And then your internal parts follow that, and then your crazy shit show on the inside, dealing with 1,000 different things that it's easy to feel insane about, you know. But if you lead from within, then you can have this stillness that can be with you even when you're in emotion, you know. You can lead with how you feel, and you can be like, you know what, I feel at peace today. I've done my little routine that keeps me in check, that keeps my heart in balance, that keeps my mind focused, and I'm ready. I'm ready for this day. And then that way, when you look at the day, you know what you can do, you know what changes are coming, and how you can change to adapt to them. It's just a more powerful way to view things than reactive. You know, we got some different reactions. Life is a beautiful gift. It's our job to open it with ease. Let's not tear off this wrapping paper and accidentally rip some of the gift off. You know, we get overeager. Let's try to approach it with balance. The acceptance of change, as well as the action of changing ourselves, and everything around us will follow. It's that simple. I know it sounds complex, but it is that simple. So let's embrace change. And let's see what we can do for life, instead of asking life what it can do for us. I love y'all. Peace.